We should see the same route from both runners here. I know both top first. As we were saying before when we were muted, Andy just learned this game. Basically decided to pick it up at AGDQ for the tournament, and yeah, has picked it up very quickly. Has a 37 in the game already.
Yeah, it looks like they're just starting up right now. It'll be a few seconds for both of these players to come up here. But yeah, so we see top first from both of these players. Very technical stage, lots of mashing involved.
Yeah, lots of mashing, lots of movement. Really fun stage to play. We see most runners going magnet first in this tournament, but top first is the fastest route for this game. Provided that you execute it at a high level.
Yeah, and so about that execution, we'll see Andy here trying to mash down this first cat.
Gets up there in 3 jumps. So does Prizzy, very nice. Good mashing from both players there.
Yeah, it's very difficult to kind of go right at the top of your jump and get all the shots in that you need to.
Prizzy with a 4 jump on the second cat. I'm not sure if the stream is synced up. They're not quite for me, but you can see Prizzy's movement just a little bit better. Seems to be having very slightly faster stage, even though he didn't hit necessarily all the tricks he went for.
Yeah, and so Prizzy's saving a second at the end of the stage over Andy as well. Anyone caught Andy, he actually did land on the last top, whereas Prizzy was able to precisely jump such that he didn't need to go on it. So again, just these small amount of time saves.
So Andy gets the 4 cycle. You want to kill top man in 3 cycles there. You're able to miss 1 hit and still get the 3, but if you miss more than that, then he'll go invulnerable and you have to kill him with the left side again. And we're underway. So other than that very last jump of top that we saw Prizzy go for, it's a pretty safe stage to not die in for the most part. And then with the top first route at the end of Shadow, you have the very scary section if you try to go fast. And then Gemini after that is very difficult as well. So these first 3 stages go a long way towards deciding, what kind of run you're going to have.
Yeah, and I believe both players are probably going to be going for... Well, we saw Prizzy practice the last screen here in Shadow right before this match, but we'll see if Andy opts to go for top jumps as well.
Nice right wall kill for Prizzy and for Andy as well. Good proto fights.
Nicely done. We'll see how they do in the dark room here. Looks like Prizzy is getting through with no issue. Andy having a little bit more problems, getting hit a few times here. This room is very, very difficult. It's your favorite room, I believe,
right? Very good room. Prizzy had a nice dark room. And now we'll see. So, if you feel your jumps are wrong, you can usually pull back and survive on this.
Prizzy just did that.
Oof, I think he had that one. Oh.
Ooh, Andy with the death there to the parachute.
Tough section. The time loss for dying here is not huge. Maybe 20 seconds or so. When you die twice, then you gotta be nervous because then you're death from a game over, and there's some really bad game overs you can take.
Yep.
Ooh.
Ooh, Andy taking the second death there.
So yeah, this is where you might want to pull back a little bit and just maybe not even do any slide jumps in this section because a game over here would be pretty bad.
Yeah, it actually looked like he started his slide about halfway, maybe even more past the platform. You want to talk about sliding a little bit?
Sorry, yeah, I just want to say that Andy actually has picked up a 1-up, so he'd be safe here from 1 more death. But yeah, as far as slides go, you can't jump out of a slide in Mega Man 3 in the first 8 frames of the slide. So if you start on start sliding on the very right edge of a platform, you just won't have enough room to actually jump out of it. So a key part of doing tight slide jumps like that is just landing on the very left edge of the platform and starting your slide as soon as you can. It makes jumping out of them way easier.
Yeah, So I think that's what we saw happen to Andy in that second death at the very least. Meanwhile, Chrissy, now in Gemini Man, going through that first screen nicely. Getting a nice jump there.
Skipping the proto cutscene, which saves quite a bit of time. Pretty easy to do. It's actually something that if you haven't, tried it before, it's a fun thing to do casually because, it takes just a little bit of practice and it's not that tight.
Yep, meanwhile, Andy's going to be going through this first screen, taking a few hits, a few more hits than he probably would like here. So you can kind of just see the little bit cleaner movement from Prissy when he went through this first room. Maybe not having as much rust as Andy is currently having.
The single block section can be pretty scary, especially if you're, not real confident in your movement. Little turnaround dragonfly kill there. And Prizzy's through. And he gets the proto skip as well. Let's see if he gets the zip as Prizzy did.
Looks like he fell out of his out of his slide there, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little early.
Yeah, you can kind of tell when you get out of that if you're going to make it or not. And unfortunately, you saw kind of Mega Man's head fall out of the fall out of the top part there.
Prizzy struggles with his Gemini fight a little bit there, but he demonstrates that you can, alternate your Shadow Blades and hit both clones quickly in the first phase. It's a pretty fun fight to learn. There's a lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah, looks like Andy opted for the health drop here.
So you can see Andy on a lot of these single blocks is like hesitating his movement to actually like land on the left edge and then slide. To be honest, like if you're gonna do that, you're probably better off just walking it, because you're adding some risk there. Oh, the drop. See if he opts for Rush Marine here.
It's very unfortunate. Is that his last life? Because he got the 1-up. Yeah, it looks like it is. Actually.
So, like, in this case, I would recommend for any runner that has 0 lives here to do Rush Marine, because then you can go... Yeah, he's going to get that 1-up. Okay. But yeah, you can Rush Marine along the bottom, and you can pick up the 1-up in the E-Tank, and that way, you're safe from a game over. Playing Mega Man with 0 lives is always in a race is just always a risky proposition.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, Prissy making it through Needle. I actually didn't get to see much because I was kind of focused on Andy there, but it seemed that Prissy had a relatively clean stage.
It's a free stage anyway.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
There is something to see right now, though.
Oh no! Prissy, what are you doing?
Getting hit twice by the Stomper there. That's not what you want to have happen to you.
No.
We saw Prissy pause there and just hope that an E-Tank magically appeared in his inventory. Unfortunately, that's not how that works.
There's no Eddie in this game to give you a random E-Tank.
Now, if that same situation happens to Andy, he did take the E-Tank here in Gemini Man stage. So, if that happens to Andy, there will be some sort of possibility. Prissy,
stop
please. Please stop playing with my heart like this. He's got enough to take 1 needle hit here.
Yeah, the needles do 3, so... He didn't switch to Gemini before the fight, but it doesn't matter here, because Needle Man waits for your first shot. Unless you take an absurdly long time.
Here we see Andy coming through the stage.
The Gemini laser one-shotting the porcupines. They take 6 buster hits, so that's... The cool thing about like Mega Man 3 speedrunning is that the weapon menus are so fast that a lot of times you'll switch to a weapon just for a specific screen or half a stage or whatever to deal with the stage, because it's not too time consuming to do so. Whereas like some of the later Mega Man games like 4 through 6, the menu takes so long that you really only switch to a weapon if you're going to use it for the whole stage or for a boss, like typically.
Yeah. Luckily, this is more of a pop-up as opposed to, the entire window having to change, so very quick for the most part.
Right. Prizzy with a bit slower Proto Man fight there. A key in that fight is just to not miss, because you can only have 3 Buster shots on screen at once. So he missed a couple shots, which slows down your mashing because you can't shoot as many after that until they leave the screen. By the way, Prizzy's neophyte was very good. We see Andy demonstrating what happens if you mess up. Yeah, that's 2. Oh man.
Oh, all right. I wasn't sure if that second one was gonna hit. And okay, we're fine.
That fight can be very safe as long as you're quick. Like if you have a good idea of what you're doing, you can, you know.
Ooh, Prissy was hesitant on that second to last Yoku block. So turn around really quick.
Yeah, you can see, you know, when someone's just a little unsure of their play. Like there was a parachute jump that Prizzy would have made, and if he had been like, you know, consistently playing Mega Man 3 this last, you know, couple weeks or whatever, it'd be something he'd recognize pretty easily, I think. But you know, when you haven't been playing the game, you can be a little hesitant on some of this stuff. Gets the good Magnet Man pattern.
Yeah, we'll see how Andy's stage goes here.
Plays a little safe with the Magfly there.
Prissy now coming into Hardman stage. You're seeing him switch to Shadow Blade for this first screen to kill the bees. Hopefully he doesn't accidentally miss. Ooh, we see him despawn the second bee there. It was a little bit too late on his jump. So.
Yeah, good strat there if you know you're not going to be able to kill him though. Just slide backwards, despawn the bees, because they cause quite a bit of lag if you let them drop on you.
Now going to be mashing down the first monkey here.
Yeah, nice screen there.
Ooh.
Going for the swag strats.
And then switching at the top of the ladder here, and see him let go out of the menu. Of course, he didn't actually need to do anything for that. It kind of just got sucked up because you can explain it better than I can.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. If you menu while climbing a ladder, it'll suck you up to the top before you're able to jump off the ladder. So like done optimally, you can save like 6 frames if you have to make a menu by menuing at the top of the ladder. That's something discovered by Cool Kid, I don't know, a couple year and a half ago. During his brief time with this game. Busy going for that little ladder gap drop which saves like 5 frames.
Meanwhile, Andy spawning the bees here. Not the bees.
It's gonna be a little slow on that one too.
Oh,
yeah.
Lots of bees.
Well, he killed one of them. I find Shadow Blade to be a lot easier than the Magnet first strat there, where you know, Magnet the first 2 and Rush Coil the last one.
Yeah.
So you can see when you don't kill the monkey, there's a lot of extra lag that Andy had to deal with that Prissy did not.
Andy also going.
Oh my goodness. At least neither of them got knocked down. If you try to go for the coil up the ladder there and get knocked down by the hammer ball, you lose about 5 seconds.
Yeah, fortunately. Andy having a few hits here from the Met Dozers. And a 1 hit on the last one, just despite the other 2.
Yeah. Hardman gives you a free E-Tank just by going the fastest route. Which is pretty nice. Not every Mega Man game just puts one right in your path like that. So he's opting to use one here before the proto fight. Prizzy doing Snake Man stage, which is just an exercise in how broken Rush Jet is.
Ooh, but taking a hit here to the Hammer Joe. Fortunately.
And you wasted a lot of magnet missiles there, but thankfully in the top first route, since you used Shadow Blades on the first green and not Magnet, you still had enough to finish that fight out. If you have that kind of fight in Magnet first, you're going to end up having to Buster Hardman, and that can take quite a while. Man, I think that single block slide from Prizzy was exactly 8 frames.
Speaking of single block slides, proceed opting not to go for single block slides at the end of Snake Man stage.
Like every sane person. See Prizzy's fight here. Snake Man fight's pretty fun. Oh, he gets the worst RNG. Still executed the fight very well, though. Interesting strat from Andy there to backwards damage boost onto Rush Jet. It looked intentional. It didn't look like he was trying to jump over the bullets.
Yeah, and now Prissy coming into the Sparkman stage. One of the easier Robot Master stages. Something nice to round out the 8 robots before they had to go into the dock stages.
Andy going for the gap jump. Didn't quite get it. Switching to Magnet here in Spark is not necessary. Like, the Magnet and Buster strats are relatively similar in time. Just Magnet makes this stage a lot easier, killing that Hammer Joe. And then you can just deboost his Met Dozer.
Yep. Note for anyone that does want to kill this Met Dozer with Magnet, you do want to be careful because you want 4 magnets for the end of this stage, as we see Prissy going down to exactly 4 here to kill the middle lag block here.
Yeah, if you do kill the Met Dozer and don't get any drops, then you have to hit that thing with 2 magnets and then switch and hit it with 2 Shadow Blades, which is really tricky to do quickly. Usually you end up absorbing some extra lag in that screen when you have to do that. If you get 1 drop, killing it with 1 Shadow Blade is still pretty fast. Let's see what kind of Sparkman pattern we get here.
Not so great, getting 4 jumps over there, fortunately.
Oh man, he takes the second hit. So anyway, Prizzy done with 8 Robos?
Yep, Andy about 1 Robot Master behind here.
That was a gold snake stage for Andy.
Yeah, nicely done. You know, not practicing this game for a while.
Yeah,
Must feel nice getting a gold split.
Rusty Mega Man 3 still getting golds.
Andy's such a beast at pretty much all games, really. Prissy getting the music despawn here in Dock Shadow. Actually, interesting choice of a first Dock stage, because we've seen a lot of people go Gemini first, actually. It doesn't matter which one you go first, but it's interesting to see that Prissy opting to go for a lesser popular first option.
Prizzy does his movement buffer to slide under the Stomper, which is not faster, but he thinks it is.
You know, whatever you're comfortable with. You don't want to.
It's basically all the same. But yeah, running into that Stomper and Dog Shadow is a huge problem because, like, you take the way most people fight Woodman, you take 16 damage here, and so the Stomper does 8, and so if you take the 16 plus the 8, that's a lot of damage.
Yep. Meanwhile, Andy finishing up Sparkman also didn't get that great of a Sparkman pattern, getting 3 jumps, unfortunately.
Doesn't get any drops, so he's gonna have to deboost at the end there. You're looking for a couple small magnet refills if you do the section the way that Prissy did it there.
With the Hammer Joes on the screen prior to that screen, you want to make sure that, you know, if you're using magnet, then you're going to be low on ammo unless you get those drops.
As far as whether it's faster to turn the lights back on in Shadow or Dock Shadow, the TAS will do little wiggles that despawn the lights, which does remove a fair amount of lag. It's something that you might see in RTA in the future, but if you have to actually like kill the light switchers, usually it's too laggy to shoot bullets at them. Like it'll interrupt your movement too much too.
It's interesting. So now both of them are in Doc Gemini stage here.
So at the end there, Andy ran out of magnets, but if you do that, you can actually switch to Needle to kill the last UFO, and so you don't have to deboost the flame like he did.
So now Andy coming into this next room, there was actually a new strat that was found, I believe, by Triwave. And it looks like Andy's not doing it, unfortunately. It's a lag reduction strat. Where you go over the top of the end of this screen, which is... I thought it's pretty interesting, you know, there are just new things being found in 2017.
That one was mine.
Oh, fair enough.
Triwave has a faster Gemini zip.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
I'm sorry, Fast. I never know who
It's okay,
finds
man.
these things.
It's okay.
There are just too many good Mega Man 3 runners.
There really are. It's actually been pretty cool with the tournament to see like how many people have put some serious time into Mega Man 3. Like the leaderboard just exploded with like new times and people improving their times.
Ooh, Andy taking a few.
Just barely. He canceled that slide like 1 frame late.
Unfortunately, so I think what happened was he realized he got damaged by the fish and did not want to proceed any further. And then, unfortunately, did not decide in time.
That was a pretty sketchy section for Frizzy there too.
Andy walking across and then killing the fish. Unfortunately, that's not what he wanted to do there either.
How many lives does he have left here?
This has to be his last life. I don't think he's game overed, but he did just die twice.
When times get desperate, you go with Rush Marine.
Sometimes you just gotta call 900 our Marine.
Got that right.
Chrissy here, kind of flubbing the end of the bubble fight there.
The 3-hit Doc Bubble fight.
Luckily, Doc Bubble not dealing that much damage, so Chrissy was able to make it through.
So, when you're in the position that Andy is in right now, where you have no lives and you're about to go into Doc Shadow, the question is, like, do you take the intentional game over? Because you can die on those spikes really quickly, rather than risking, you know, for instance, a game over at the end of the stage, like at the parachute section, which could cost you a minute, like over a minute, easy. When you're doing races or no resets or whatever, you have to, you know, kind of make those type of calculations and decide what's worth it for you.
Yeah. And probably, even if I don't know if they're watching each other or not, but Andy probably knowing that his chances are a lot slimmer against Prissy than his previous opponents, but that might be a factor as well. If he knows that he's behind, you know, he might just risk the game over to save those few seconds to try to get closer to Prissy's time.
Sure. But yeah, you got to figure when your opponent has a 34 and you're, you know, you've already taken a few deaths, you're probably just trying to finish the race in the best time that you can.
Yeah.
And he landed pretty far to the left on that first gate. made me a little nervous. But he actually did a really good job of understanding how long you can walk on those gates before they open up and drop you to your doom.
Yeah, now we'll see how Andy does in the Woodman fight here.
So yeah, you can opt to jump over the leaf shield and like bonk into the falling leaves, which saves you about 4 damage, which is what it looked like Andy was doing there.
Andy switching to Gemini laser, so you see this when you want to preserve your magnet for the next screen. Andy with the big
Man.
Oh, jeez.
You can see him pausing before these slides. He's trying to be careful. Oh my goodness!
Oh my God,
The thing is that when you delay like that, you're running the risk that the drop's going to hit you right as you're trying to jump rather than catching it in the air. The best way to try to do those sections is to, like, at first when like you're learning it, is try to shoot the magnets in a way that you catch the drops in the air and just hold A throughout your entire jump. So that way, even if you get a drop, you're still holding A. And when you come out of the... Oh, nice double. 2 health is all you need.
2 health, no problems. From Andy. I forgot to check if that was his last life or not, but I guess...
Yeah, it was. Unless you picked one up in that stage. But he was on 0. Still on 0.
Yep.
Does have an E-tank, but yeah, this would be a really bad stage to take a game over in as well, so... I'm hoping he gets a 1-up drop somewhere. There actually is a 1-up in this stage, but Andy's probably not.
He's probably not going to go for it. It's a little bit too costly to kind of go on the next screen, and it's
What you would do is you would switch to. That screen can be a nightmare when you mess it up. But he despawned the missile, so that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, ideally, if you wanted to get that, you'd switch to Rush Jet, but Andy's not going for that option. Showing us that he's better than that 1-up.
Alright, let's see what Pixel Prizzy gets here.
Too far to the right.
Yeah.
A little bit unfortunate, but at least that means he doesn't run the risk of having to go back to the beginning of the stage. Now Prissy going to be coming into the Mega Man 3 one-hit KO final boss.
Man, that was something. Can you imagine if that hack had game overs and you had to get, every time you failed him 3 times, you had to get sent back to the beginning of the stage?
That would be pretty brutal. Meanwhile...
Ooh, solid fight for Prizzy.
Yeah.
That last snake was really well timed, because when he's running away from you like that, and you know he's going to jump back towards you, so he threw the snake up in like such a way that he made him jump into it. It's not that easy to do.
Meanwhile, Prissy having a weird split in his splits, it looked like.
It's really strange because he basically saved no time on it because it's the same every time. Why?
Shouts to IBM.
Shoutouts to IBM.
So we'll see how his wily stages go here. As Andy still trying to wrap up. He's got another Doc Robot after this, unfortunately.
Prizzy actually played the Doc Bots really well there.
Yeah, very nicely done by him.
His robos were a little shaky, but it looks like he's starting to, kind of feel the flow of this game a little bit better.
Yep.
Man,
also,
killing
memory
these
probably returning.
That's insane.
Yeah, you see a lot of players damage boost.
Yeah, I haven't looked at how fast you have to buster those guys down to actually save time with that strat.
Yeah, it's either you take the damage boost or you have to mash all 6 shots in. Meanwhile, we'll be seeing Prissy here use Magnet. Gonna be wanting to preserve some of this for the refights.
Yeah, the way it's routed, you have 1 extra magnet that you can afford to miss somewhere, assuming you don't get a drop. That's a scary screen to do if you're not familiar with it, or like if you're rusty, I guess I should say. Really easy to die there. Like almost any mistake you make there will probably kill you. So you have to it's not that tight to do, but so he's got to be careful. So he used 1 or 2 magnets.
Wait,
here.
it looked like he used 1 magnet and
think
then
he-
just opted to damage boost through the rest.
I think he might have used 2. He might be 1 magnet.
He might have
short
used
of
2, but he
Arnett.
didn't kill the first Hammer Joe, so maybe
Yeah,
he
I think he hit the Hammer Joe and one of the Hammer Balls.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because otherwise, if he was just gonna damage boost through, he might as well have just stuck with Buster.
Oh, he's using Shadow Blade. Left, right, left, right, Frizzy. So the turtles come out in a specific order, which is something a lot of people didn't know. I ran this game for probably 6 months without knowing that, but they come out in the left, right, left, right order, so you can kind of shade the turtle maker that way. I would definitely recommend doing that fight with Topspin.
Things I wish I knew when I was learning the Wily stages. Meanwhile, Andy here, switching into Snake before the boss. Now,
I'm
you
a
usually
fan-
see people switch in the actual boss room itself, because then you can kind of see where the jump is going for Quickman.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that.
And Andy taking a few hits here, but getting through the boss fight just fine.
Got the bees! No! Oh, he got him. Thought that one bee was just gonna follow him through the whole stage.
We'll see how Prissy's Yellow Devil is here. If his easying is up to snuff after being out of practice.
Andy playing on the US version so you can keep up with the lore of the game.
And so that he doesn't soft lock in Wily 1. Prissy with a good first jump. Solid kill.
7 and 3, easy.
Andy looked like he was trying to mash through the first top enemy as well, but then actually just damage boosting. Prissy now coming into the hardest room here. See how he does. Nice KLM room.
Nice. Jumping between the first and second bullet is just a lot of fun to pull off. Nobody likes waiting when they're speedrunning.
It's pretty tough. You gotta make sure that you get your slide in.
Oh, he went for the... So he got the zip, Prizzy, in the Frogger room there. But you have to do it really, really well to actually save time. Because he tries to get to the, basically cut out a platform cycle, but he was a little slow. So it ended up being, the same time, but if you don't think you're going to die there, it's worth going for, because you can probably rescue it and hit the same cycle if you don't get it.
And even if it is the same amount of time, it looks very swaggy, so...
Basically, you coil into the platform and do a quick wiggle so that you're facing right while you're in the platform, so it pushes you to the left. And then you need to turn around right away and jump as soon as you can off the edge of that platform in order to, make the platform to the left.
Yeah, so as Prissy comes into the refights here, we'll see how Andy does in Wily 2. Looks like Andy actually golded his Wily 1 as well.
Nice.
So, nicely done from him.
Prizzy has a really strong Mega Man 3 refights. Rusty, I'm not sure, but he has a lot of strats that only he does here, and strats that he came up with.
It does look like he actually did use 2 magnets in Wily 1. So he's
Yeah.
short a magnet here.
Just a note for anybody that runs out of magnet there, yes, switching to hard knuckle is faster. because it does the same amount of damage as Magnet. All bosses take 4 damage from their own weapon. But if you kill... Whew, nice fight. If you kill Hardman while you're frozen, then it'll soft lock the game. And it's way easier to do that with Hard Knuckle because of like how long it takes Hard Knuckle to actually get there. So just be careful if you switch to Hard Knuckle that you're not killing him like right as he's about to land. Right after he lands.
Yeah, meanwhile, kind of missed it on Andy's stream, but he got the easy kill in Wily 2 and opted to take it slow past the 3rd bullet in the KLM room.
Definitely a lot safer. It's an interesting recovery for Andy there. Actually, haven't seen that particular room before.
Looks like he didn't slide off the platform or whatever.
Yeah, and so he ended up on the right side of the platform and like jumped up to it while it was going away from him.
Prissy accidentally shooting.
Oh no! The
3 snakes there.
He's gonna have to E-tank here, I think.
Yep. Opting to E-tank.
If you get stuck in that position that Prizzy was in there, especially after you E-tank and you have health, like after you take the D-boost, it's smart to kind of jump up and shoot because you can only have one Shadow Blade on the screen at once. So you want to get a little bit closer to his hitbox, that way you can mash him a little faster rather than throw him straight up from the ground. Basically treat it like you're doing the yellow double.
Yep, and as Prissy comes into the Gamma fight here, really no chance for him to, unless he just leaves his game on, takes a break. Spells the end here for Andy.
Yeah, okay, he realized that he didn't land on Rush Coil there. Alright, GG Prizzy.
Time of 37:06. His SRL time looks like it's 37:09. So congrats to Prissy for taking this race. Getting a D-Rust race in. Pretty solid time for not having too much time to practice.
Yep. Keeps him undefeated in group play.
Yep, meanwhile, Andy coming through the refights. We'll see how Andy does. To do a laser here in Gemini.
Oh, he made him jump over it. You made him actually jump over it
known for
twice.
dodging. Look at this. Look at this sick Gemini man dodging.
You
Wow.
made him jump over it again.
Look at that.
There we go. You didn't make the same mistake a 4th time. That's actually a pretty clever use of Gemini Man's mechanics. Like a lot of times you shoot into dual laser and you're just watching it bounce around. And I'll see players do this where it's like going directly over Gemini Man's head, and they can push B to make him jump into it, and they don't do that. And so Andy was trying to do that, but it was actually going to hit him. So he just made him jump over it.
Now Andy here, wrapping up his refights. Coming into Wily 5, we'll see if he can get a moral victory over Prissy by having a faster Wily 5.
He's actually saved time in the Wily stages on his PB, so not bad for being rusty.
Yeah, for sure.
See if he can demonstrate this this Wily machine kill.
Shoot 2 lag snakes. Nicely done.
Very nice. Yeah, you shoot 2 of those snakes to just slow the game down, so you have a lot more time to mash the Wily machine as he comes down. If you shoot 3, though, you won't have any snakes to hit him with.
It's nicely done from Andy. As we wrap this up, I was actually surprised that we had group matches left, because we are nearing the bracket stage here in the Mega Man 3 tournament, I believe.
Yeah, I think tomorrow is the last day to get any matches in for the group stage. And then bracket play will resume after SNES Superstars.
Yep, SNES Superstar is going to be taken over from the 9th, so this weekend, all throughout next week pretty much, and then the tournament schedule will continue through.
GG?
Yep. Well played from Andy. Still going to be making it through to the bracket stage, so despite this loss to Prissy here, probably can't be too disappointed. Probably was expecting to lose here anyways. Prissy's very, very good Mega Man runner.
Yep, good job to both runners. Obviously, a really long break in between their last races and this one, and a lot of non-Mega Man 3 being played by both. But both made a good showing.
Yep, and even throughout next week, we probably will see won't see much Mega Man 3 from quite the number of runners. The runner's command is wrong.
Is there anything else scheduled for today or tomorrow? I didn't see anything on
there. There is an Ori match tomorrow in the Ori and the Blind Forest tournament that I am helping organize. It is Skyfu versus Henai, and that's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. There's no Mega Man 3 tomorrow, unfortunately. But there's going to be some Ori. I've been making some wonderfully nice stats sheets for that tournament. So exclamation mark Ori if anyone in chat wants to find out about that. But unfortunately, no Mega Man 3.
Gotcha. Well, looking forward to the bracket stages at this point. A lot of good runners going to be moving on.
Yep. So thanks for casting fast.
Yeah. Thanks for helping me out. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks once again.